Hello, all. Long time no see. I know it's been a while, but today I'm going to be talking about a service that I've used, and that's called Delivrd. Now, bear with me. I don't have any notes. I have some cliff notes, but I'm doing this all off of the top of my head. Not really too much composed notes, so I just wanted to talk about that. This is a step by step of my experience with Delivrd. First things first, if you're wondering what Delivrd is a concierge car service buying service for you. They charge a flat fee, which we'll talk about. We'll go over everything. But they charge a flat fee and they pretty much do everything for you. The main things that they advertise is they handle the trade, the negotiations for you, talk to the dealer, all that jazz for you, and handle, like I said, your trade. And the main things and the key points are they don't want to give you stress, anxiety, pretty much take away that stress and anxiety for you, and a byproduct of saving money. Now, first things first, a lot of people are going to ask me, which I do have in my cliff notes here. I just want to make this very clear. Delivrd already knows that I'm making a video. I put this in their review. They have a personal review after everything's done, and I said I would be making a YouTube video. So if Delivrd or the team's watching me and they want more details or want to have a private conversation, because I'm not going to say any names or anything, I might say Tommy because he's the face of the company, and I'll be interchanging that with Delivrd. But other than that, I'm not saying anybody's name on the team. I'm not. This isn't a hit piece. Secondly, I'm not a secret shopper. I'm not a competitor, and I was not paid by Delivrd. I have to make that very clear. Like, I just wanted. This is my personal experience as an average. I think an average everyday consumer and client. I'm not like a secret billionaire, and I'm not a secret client, and I'm not a famous person by any means, and just gives you a step-by-step process of this thing of delivering how it goes through. So I just wanted to say that if they didn't want to reach out, totally awesome, no problems at all, no ill will. This isn't a hit piece, like I said. This is just my personal experience, and this has constructive criticism in it, along with the step-by-step process. I'm going through everything from the beginning, so keep that in mind. So first things first, Delivrd only does new cars right now, so if you're looking for used cars, this is not going to be the service for you. Additionally, Delivrd is not going to be the service for you if you don't want to deal with the dealership at all. If you're thinking this is a broker, he's not a broker. He's like a middleman. Think of it that way. He does negotiate the deal for you. You don't have to deal with any of that and talking of the numbers and all that stuff with the deal. And then, of course, you get brought in. You're still going to have to do paperwork. You will be communicating with the dealer either via email or text, and you will have to be filling out some type of paperwork and filling out additional paperwork like extra protections like gap insurance and all that stuff they will talk about, and financing and all that stuff. So you will have to give your information over for that. That's another thing. They only do no cars. Also, wanted to state that if you're expecting to talk to Tommy directly or have Tommy do your your negotiation live on his streams when he does live stream, that is not going to be the case. Mine was not done on the live stream. Mine was done within, I think, hours of things, which we'll talk about. We are going to go through step by step, like I said. So just keep that in mind also. Lastly, I know before I get into it, have your ducks in a row. Tommy's not going to sit here and be like, or his team's not going to sit here and be like, you should get this car, you should get this car. You should have a general idea or a basis of a car you want or things that you want from a car, and then it should be narrowed down and you should do your own due diligence and research. The Delivrd team is not going to pick a car for you. You're not just going to be there and be like, pick a car, and they're going to be like, what do you mean? So make sure you have your ducks in a row. Make sure you know your budget. Make sure you know what you want, don't want, the colors, the trim. All that plays a part into your car buying experience, and it will be a lot easier, I believe. If you don't know every single detail, it is okay. They're very patient. They're very communicative, which we'll talk about too. I had a great experience. Like I said, it's not a hit piece. There were a few little bumps in the road. Of course, not everything's going to be smooth sailing, which is understandable. It just comes with the course. But let's get into it. So first things first, if you go to the Delivrd website, there are free consultations, and this is where I actually started. I did not get a free consultation. They are very limited, and they go out real quick. I've been on his website multiple times at the end of the month, beginning of the month, entering the day, during the evening, during the depths of night. And let me tell you, there was never a free consultation ever available. Now, that being said, due to the volume of customers he's getting, because he's getting very popular and Delivrd team's getting popular and growing, It's understandable. That being said, you can email him. Email Delivrd, which goes to Tommy, and he will answer your questions to 24 to 48 hours roughly, which I did do. I was having reliability issues with my past car, which was a Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, and I was having reliability issues. I was putting the maintenance into it. I was using, I had the funds to, fix the car, and it was going on 3 months, and I just wanted somebody that was not emotionally invested, somebody that wasn't making a rash decision and just be like having an attachment to the car and be like, if I fix this one more thing, will it work? And just get a professional opinion of, what's my next route. This is the car I was looking for. These are the things I'm looking for. What are your thoughts and opinions? Tommy responded to all my emails. He never pushed a service. He never asked me to buy a service. He never said, okay, you've reached your daily limit of emails. Please, if you want to continue this conversation, please use my service. He never did that once. He's very transparent. He just doesn't say this on his streams. It is very transparent. And I'm, like I said, an average Joe. I don't consider myself a famous person or a special person or a secret person behind scenes that needs to have everything done for me or anything by that. So he did email me, and he did state in one of his lives that if you really wanted a free consultation, he could work you in, or if you have specific questions about stuff, he could work a consultation or just answer them via email. So that would probably be your best route. If you're looking to just try and book a free consultation, it's going to be hard, and you're going to have to literally watching the website 24/7. So I did go with his service. Like I said, he never pushed his service, but I decided to use his service. His fee is a flat $1,000. Now, I know a lot of people have their opinions about this. Oh my God, what the heck? $1,000, you could have saved $1,000. Oh, you could have paid me $1,000 and I could have got you a car deal. Oh, wow, how much money is he saving you if he's paying you money? Now, it was not about that. I just want to make this very clear here. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I'm looking down and then all over the place. But first and foremost, it was not really about the saving of the money. Yes, it's a byproduct of his that he does save. He did save me money, which I'll go into a little bit, but not too much. But the main things for me is the car that I wanted, just to be very transparent with you, was a Toyota RAV4 2026s. If you know anything about the Toyota RAV4 right now and the 2026s, is they went fully hybrid, and their production value, or the production is just slow. It is slow. They're only coming out of Canada right now and Japan. There's no cars really coming out of Kentucky right now because they're doing construction on their factory, but that's a whole other story. Long story short, with limited production and high demand and low supply, I looked around and I did my due diligence even before I hired Tommy. I looked in my general area because I wanted to stay in state. Just keep that in mind. I wanted to stay in state and get a car because it's always cool going to the dealer, doing your deal, and driving out of there on a new lot with a good deal and a nice new brand new car. That's always a fun experience. Well, not fun for everybody, but it's a nice experience to experience. If you've ever done that, you understand where I'm coming from. So I did do my due diligence, and those were the two main things, is that he had the allocation and resources to know what's a good deal for these, even though they're brand new and people are going to be like, oh, these are the hottest cars in America. This is the most selling car in America. Does not mean you can't get some type of deal or savings on the car. And two, he had the resources to show where the population of cars, the most produced amount of cars would be going to, which of course was down in the east and or south, if you want, like around, we did a little J, which we'll talk about a little bit more in detail there. So to give you that, he also lets you use his website, or shows you the website that he uses. Just to keep in mind, I did use that website too, but you do have to subscribe for specific details and stuff you want for packages, because you can only put so much stuff in there until it limits you and asks you for a subscription. It's not related to Tommy. I don't believe it's related to Delivrd or anything that he uses. He just uses it, and the people that actually make it are not related to Delivrd at all. So just keep that in mind too if you want to do it on your own. So I paid for a service. I just want to say $1,000 flat fee. There's no hidden taxes. There's nothing I know how sometimes I go to Amazon now, especially in my state of Illinois, just to give you an idea, because it will talk about shipping and stuff later. In Illinois, there are taxes on digital goods and internet shopping. So you'll see a price on Amazon, you're like $20, and then you go to the checkout and all of a sudden it's $23, $24, and you're like, what the heck? Why is it $24? So with shipping and everything. It's kind of crazy. But it was a flat fee. I enjoyed that, actually. There was nothing hidden. I used a debit card, no problem. Boom, done. So what happens first? You get 2 emails, actually. One says, congratulations, you bought your service. This says that you bought it, and you have the email stating you bought it. And then 2, he actually sends you a link of your preferences. So this is the first thing I'm going to talk about. This pretty much goes through all the details of your car. He wants all the information that you want to put for your car. This goes over the model, the trim, the wants, the don't wants, the colors you don't want, the budget. Your budget is important. If you're financing, leasing, or other, discuss in person, yada, 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 which you do get a consultation after this, so that's why. So goes through this. The website itself is very nice. It's animated. It's got the fancy background as you're filling it out. There's no limit. You could type as much as you wanted in there, and there was no like drop-down boxes or anything. But most of them are self-explanatory. Model or make, Toyota, RAV4, this trim, blah blah blah. What I want, not want. So the website's great. It takes you about 15 to 25 minutes, depending on how detailed and how much you want of the car. Ask you all the questions, like I said, step by step. It's not boring. I get it. You're paying for a prestige service, so this is important. This is your first real interaction with Delivrd, so it looks nice. One critique of this right off the bat is, so you fill it all out and I send it. Boom. Now a lot of us are human and we're like, oh no, maybe I should have added this, or dang it, maybe I should go back and add this, and really maybe I should do this trim because maybe this is the right way. I don't know. I really need to discuss this, and maybe I should have put both trims. I only put 1, and I should have put 2, or I should have put 3, and maybe we should have talked, and then we could have talked about it. I didn't see a way to go back on that website to update your preferences. This would be cool to have your profile right off the bat, go to a website and have your preferences right there. Maybe it's not as fancy and animated as it was when you first saw it. Maybe you can just go back to a specific part and add text to what you were looking for. I didn't see any way to do that. I could have been wrong, but I did re-click the link, and you could refill out the link as many times as you want. So if you signed up for the service and you filled out 14 links, you can fill out 14 links. Just tell them when you have your consultation, and that's what I did. I filled out a whole nother thing. It takes the same amount of time. I already knew what I wanted. I just changed one specific thing, and then boom, we're off the races. So then from that point on, it says you're going to have a consultation. You do get a free consultation anyways in this, if you count it a free consultation. It's part of the package. So you do get a 15 to 20 minute consultation. That being said, from when I filled out the website, which is about a Tuesday, I filled it out Tuesday or Wednesday, the earliest consultation that I could get in the morning time of my time, of Central Standard Time, was at 10 a.m. I believe that was the earliest. Maybe 9 if I wanted to wake up earlier. Maybe there's something a little bit earlier. But 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, which I'm in, time zone, on a Monday. So I had to wait about 5 days before my consultation. Why is this important? Because they're still not doing your deal at this point, and just letting you know. Tommy does send you videos along the way, pre-made videos. It's not him talking. He's like, hey, what's up? What's up, Tony? He's not saying that, but he does have pre-made videos. He talks you through the process, where you're at, and he does explain everything. So he calls this the pre-boarding consultation, like a pre-boarding flight. So I do I do mention that in the future. That's what I'm talking about, the free consultation. It's the same thing, the pre-board flight. That's what I'm talking about. This just kind of solidifies everything. So here's imagine your shoes are tied, but they're not tight. This is to make everything connected, safe and secure. You know what you want. This is exactly what you want. This is what we're going for. This is what we're hunting for. Bada bing, bada boom, as Tommy would say. This is what we're looking for. The consultation. So it is video and voice. You can do it on your mobile device. You can do it on a computer. You can do it wherever you want. There is, as long as you have some way to talk. You don't have to get on video. Don't feel pressured, but they do like to put a face with the name of the person that's buying the service and have just a more personal experience. With the consultation, person was very nice. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about anybody's name. Person was very patient, very nice, went through all my questions, never felt rushed, never felt like, oh, you're buying this car, never felt judged about the car that I was buying, never felt like it was like, oh, why'd you go with this car? It never felt like there was a bias in the room of any sorts from the consultation I was having. We do go through everything that you filled out on the website previously. So everything that you've typed out, you go over, you kind of, like I said, you're just filling in the loose ends, make sure that's what you want. They do share their screen at this point and use that website, the vin dot whatever. I can't remember off the top of my head. If you're using Delivrd or ever watched Delivrd, he uses it all the time, or he talks about it all the time. So it's the VIN website. And pretty much they fill out all your information and show you where the curve is. That goes back to what I was showing you. So 2 things in the consultation they do ask you about. 1, they talk about 3 things I want to talk about. The trade. They ask you if you're willing to sell your trade early or not. And since I had that as my daily driver, I could not, which we'll talk about that process too. 2, if you're willing to get the car shipped or if you want it local. This is something that I did not think about. When you watch Tommy, he's like, yeah, we'll get the car shipped. Well, no problem, blah, blah, blah. I didn't think about the money, the money factor, it's like, yeah, no problem. We'll ship the car, and you see people all the time. Yeah, you're going to ship it to me? Yeah, it's fine. I'll ship it to you. You see the car people online all the time. And it's just like, boom, not even talking about it. It's like you pay the price and you're like, ship it to me. And they're like, yeah, fine. And you don't realize how much you're paying for shipping. They did answer that question. They give a huge range. So if you do plan on shipping your car, make sure you put that in your budget. It is a huge range of time. So it could be, or money, I mean. So it could be a couple $100 to a couple $1,000. Depends where you live, where your car's getting shipped. Like I said, mine was like a little J belt. Like it was on the East Coast, and the population of the car mostly was down there. Not saying there wasn't cars anywhere in America. I'm not saying there was no Toyota RAV4s anywhere else, but a good supply of them were in this area. So I was okay with it getting shipped. And 3, we do talk about the budget, and this is what I want to talk about. I think here in the pre-consultation, you should take a little bit more time with finances, with people that are not good with finances or aren't really like set on a budget. I know some people that are using Delivrd services don't have to go through this, and this could be faster or slower depending on the person. I'm an average Joe. I did use a car calculator. People are like, Google it. Why can't you do these things? Google this stuff. I did Google it. I filled everything out. And there's some things that you don't think about when you're filling out this. You're putting in a trade numbers, and you're putting how much you're putting down, and then you're trying to figure out taxes of where you live, so you're putting in a general area, and then just all that, and then you're just wondering what the car is going to guess. And I know what Tommy's going to say, and I know what Delivr's going to say. Well, it's hard to say we do this and we tell you an average, right, of what your payments are going to be if you're financing or whatever. I financed. Whatever your payments are going to be, and then it could be totally different at the end. Because you could save money on this, blah, blah, blah. Your trade could be more worth less by then, and the process, everything plays a part, and I understand that. But just giving a general idea of going over, okay, this is what you put for your budget, this is the MSRP of the car, this is what you plan on putting down, this is generally what the taxes are in your area, this is the payments that you're looking for. It looks like you're relatively close, or hey, this is a lot more than what you're looking for. I think that would actually help a lot and help the ease of moving into the process further on. And like I said, you can very, very state like, hey, this is just an estimate of what your payments are going to look like, and this is without, your trade being implemented, all that jazz. Also talking about my trade, due to it being the car dealer outside of my state, most of the time they're going to use a third-party seller, which is CarMax and Carvana, for your trade. And ultimately, it's going to be up to you what you want to do with your trade, which we'll talk about. So there was that. After that consultation, they send you 2 things. They want everything to know about your trade, even though you're not going to even sell it right now. They still want everything, the VIN and all that stuff, and pictures of the trade. And additionally, they want your basic information. This is where you fill out the stuff for the dealership. This is going to be your name, maybe your driver's license, and just to show like a picture of you and whatnot, just to show, hey, this is the person that you're working with. Like I said, you're going to work with the dealer somewhat or another with down the line. Just FYI, where if it be paperwork they're sending you, or they're communicating via text and all that jazz. So I filled out all of that information, and literally that day, Tommy himself did reach out. He said it was Tommy, and said he had a deal for me. I locked it in. I saved a couple $1,000s. I'm not gonna lie, I saved money, and the trade looked good, or not the trade. The deal looked good. I said lock it in. He said great. Bada boom, bada bing. We'll move on with it, and perfect. So what moves forward with that is due to the car not being there at first because it was still being paid. It was not going to arrive until like the end of April, the 20th. I think it got there around April 19th. Yes, April 19th, the vehicle got there. But so he was like, hey, it's going to take a couple weeks. I was like, that's fine. I still have my daily driver for right now. It's being reliable enough. It's okay. I can wait it out. So that goes forward. You put your non-definable reposit or whatever. This changes from dealer to dealer. How much you put down. I did have to put one down for the car because it wasn't there yet. Just shows a serious buyer. And then Delivrd puts you in a group chat. It puts you in a group chat with the dealer and themselves, a different number than you were texting before. So Delivrd has a main number you can contact, but this is going to be the people you're directly working with, and you should be using this chat. This chat never worked. I don't know why. And I'm a tech-savvy person. I am not like, oh, I don't know how to text. What do you mean Wi-Fi, Bluetooth? Like, I am not that type of person. So they put you in a group chat with the dealer and Delivrd and yourself, and this is supposed to be where your main communication. You kind of stop using the Delivrd, or you're supposed to stop using the Delivrd line there, and supposed to be talking in the group chat. So the group chat would be made. I'm like, hey, how's it going? And boop, your message cannot be sent to the dealer's number. So the dealer's number was a different number than the actual dealer direct number, which we'll talk about. I know that's confusing, but let me explain. So I reached out to Delivrd, said, hey, getting these errors. And they're like, hey, whoa, sorry, that's the wrong number. I'm going to remake your group chat, and we're going to send it again. So I was like, okay. I deleted the group chat because there was nothing in there yet. Waited. They said, hey, Anthony, or hey, Tony, this is your, this is your new group chat. Hopefully this works. Same number up top for the dealer. So I said, hey, shit, thanks. Did you get this text? They said, hey, we got your text. But then it said, error. This person's cannot receive text messages. And I thought it was a dealer end. I said, maybe the dealer needs my number to put into their system, and that's why it's just doing that. Or maybe they can't be in a group chat. I'm not too sure. So I was like, hey, I reached out to Delivrd again and said, hey, this is not working. This is, they're like, well, that's the wrong number. It should be this number. Maybe reach out to the dealer specifically and see what's going on. So I reached out to the dealer specifically. Perfectly fine, by the way. I could text the dealer. I couldn't use the group. I could use the group chat. Only Delivrd was getting the group chat messages. But it didn't make sense. So it was kind of annoying because everything had to be like reiterated again. And Delivrd seemed to be kind of out of the loop a little bit due to this issue. I want to say it was because of this issue that never got resolved the whole time through. I even personally deleted the group chat, added the dealership's number, added Delivrd's number, and made a new group chat, and it still reverted back to the old number. I don't know why. I could see all the texts. I was getting all the texts from the dealers and Delivrd, if Delivrd responded. I was getting all those and the reactions and all that jazz, but I don't understand why it wasn't working. Like I said, I added it, put his number, I don't know. Reached out to him via email, said, hey, this isn't working. I reached out to Delivrd, nobody knows. And he's like, hey, that's weird, but I'm just going to, I just got your number now. It's okay. It's not a big deal. So you fill out some paperwork, and it's pretty much a waiting game at this point. So you wait, and the dealer does ask you if you want to do financing at this point. Delivrd said, wait till the car gets there before you really lock into financing or running your credit or any of that stuff. Perfectly fine. Everything to this point, I've asked questions about certain things or what I should put, what I shouldn't put on applications. I ask questions. Some of them maybe you've done. Some of them you could have Googled. It was really honestly up to me what I wanted to do. I used the text. I used them a lot. They were really responsive. They always answered my questions. They never seemed annoyed. They never had any issues with what I sent. I could send a billion pictures of my car. They said it was perfect. They never said stop sending pictures or anything. They were never rude. I just want to make that very clear. And even after hours, there is an automatic thing that gets sent to you. It says your thing's in a queue. You know how that goes. Your message is in a queue. It'll get back to you as soon as possible. If it's urgent, contact this number, which we do contact that number later on, which I will talk about. So even after hours, people did respond to me in the Delivrd chat. I don't know who those people are. They never had their names. They never attached a name to the thing they sent. I don't know who's responding. It could be Tommy. It could not be Tommy. Like I said, if you're expecting to talk to Tommy or have Tommy do your deal online live, that is not the purpose of this service. So don't waste your money doing that because it's not going to happen most likely. There's slim chances of that. So moving forward, the car is coming. Yes, this is the exciting part. It's finally coming down. It should be here any moment now, and it is arriving soon. So come later on down the week, so about a week and a half later from when my deal was done to the car getting shipped, the dealer reaches out and says, hey, the car should be here Sunday or Monday. Do you want to finance with us? Yada, yada, yada. I was like, yes, going to finance with you. Let me, they send you the credit. This is when you get your credit ran and all this jazz and fill out a little bit more paperwork. So then, boom, how much you're going to put down? Say how much you're going to put down. Bada bing, bada boom. We're moving. We're smooth so far. This is where a little hiccup comes, a little bump again. So my credit, I'm going to be honest, is good. I have no problems with my credit. Credit's very good. I think I could get competitive rates. I don't have anything to worry about. I'm not coming in with a bogus-ass credit score. Sorry for swearing. So just being that. And I'm putting a good chunk of change down for an average Joe. This is an average person, right? My car's unreliable. This is not something I was planning. This was not on my radar for 2026 originally. Do I have the funds? And luckily I do have the funds for obvious reasons. I'm sure you know, tax returns and all that stuff. So it's like people, you got that stuff. So comes back with the numbers. This is how much you're putting down. This is what you can get. And I'm like, whoa. This is the time where I'm like, whoa, hold on. Whoa. Woof. And new cars, as you see online, this is not a joke, New cars are expensive to finance. You need a good chunk of money to put down. Those rules that people preach online, if you follow the right people, the right money people, these are important to have. But due to the circumstances, I'm like, whoa, this is payments way too high. I reached out to Delivrd. So just to give you context, because you need context for this part of the story, it's a Friday when we do this. I reach out to Delivrd. Delivrd right away calls me. I'm not going to talk about the person's name. I'm just going to refer to them as he or she, whatever the case may be. Ooh, excuse me. And I'm doing this all in one take, as you can tell. I didn't edit anything. And get on the phone right away. We have a great conversation. I am not stressed or feeling any type of pressure at this point. We have a great conversation on the phone. He's like, I'm going to do more research for you. I felt very supported. I felt like I was very supported that they were on my team. They're going to do more research for me. They stated they were going to talk to the dealer. This is a key thing here that left a little sour taste in my mouth and just was a little frustrating down the line, which I'll talk about here in a second. That there is going to be a conversation with the dealer after our conversation on the phone. Give them a day to pretty much do more research. They did look at the rate and they're like, hey, this is a very competitive rate. They were honest with me. We're really close to the deal. Can you put more money down? I'm like, this is my reserves, man. Like, I'm the average Joe. I'm keeping this like as plain Jane. Like, no, this is my reserves. I don't have any extra that I can really put down. we talked about selling my car, and I said I can't sell my car because it's my daily driver. This is key to the story here. But, I did, because I was just nosy, I did pre-check what my car was going to be worth at some of these places. If you could just fill out a basic thing online, I was like, oh. But he said that might be the game plan. We'll check it out. Give me a day. We'll do some research. Let's see if we can extend the terms maybe with Toyota, yada, yada, yada. So I was like, okay, no problem. Give you the day. Saturday, nothing was said, which was fine. I'm like chilling. I am fine. Sunday. Now, Sunday, nationwide, usually everything's closed. Banks are closed. Car dealerships are closed. Things are closed. So I expected this dealership to close. Bright and early on Sunday morning, I get a text from the dealership saying, hey, your car's here. Are you still interested in this car? Do you still want this car? And I'm like, yeah, duh. I still want the car. No, I still want the car, of course. And I told him, I said, I want the car, of course. And Delivrd was supposed to talk to you on Friday. They were supposed to have a conversation. So I was supposed, I'm seeing what the conversation is that. And he's like, well, I never talked to Delivrd about anything. I'm not too sure what's going on with that situation. He seemed a little rude, and I know the dealer doesn't work with the Delivrd, but he seemed a little irked or irritated, and I don't know if he was just trying to say, hey, figure it out kind of thing. And that's the vibe I was getting, like, figure it out, dude. Like, what the hell? Like, you're a big boy, figure it out. I don't know. Never had a conversation. The only way that anything's changing if you put more money down. Done. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, that's literally how he came off to me. I am not going to read text for text. I do have the text, but I'm not reading the receipts text for text. But that was how it came off and perceived. And I reached out to Delivrd as what I was supposed to do. I said, hey, I know it's Sunday. The dealer's saying the car's here. I don't want to lose the car. Like, don't want to take more time because the supply, like I said, for this car is already. I looked online today. We're looking at RAV4s are not coming out till June. You're not going to probably see these cars on the street a lot, like a big population of cars, until June over here at least. And I can only imagine other states, but we're here in Illinois. Yeah. So I was like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I got the automatic text. If it's urgent, text this number. I said, you know what? This seems a little urgent because I don't want him to sell the car underneath me. That's what I was really nervous about. That's the two things I was worrying about. One, I didn't want to lose my non-refundable deposit of putting the car down because I was serious, and I am a serious car buyer. I do have the car. The process is over. And two, I was like, I don't want him to sell it, like I said, sell the car out of me and have to wait longer for a car. I need a car now, and it's like, I didn't want to lose this deal, and maybe I wasn't going to get as good of a deal or the color I wanted or something else to that matter. So I was thinking of all these things. I was like, oh, okay, I got to get moving. And this is part of the reason I hired Delivrd, because I was like, I don't want to deal with this stress. Don't want to deal with the pressure of feeling like I have to make a decision right now. So reached out to Delivrd, get the automatic thing, get that number. I was like, screw it. I'm going to message him. Text the number, called the number, no response. And this is where that left a little sour taste in my mouth. It wasn't so much the group text itself, but due to that, I reached out to the urgency number and nobody responded to me. And I understand it's Sunday, and I understand dealers play all kinds of tricks. And this is another thing. I didn't know. I was left in the dust. Like I said, I had a conversation with Delivrd. They said they were going to talk to the dealership. I thought legitimately they were going to talk to the dealership and have a conversation with them. And I didn't know if the dealer was just bullshitting and be like, well, he agreed to something on Friday and then turn around and didn't do it on Sunday and didn't want to do that, or try and like sneak around Delivrd. I didn't know what was going on. Like truly didn't know what's going on. And this is like honest to God opinion and honest feelings. Like I'm being 100% with you here. And so I was a little peeved. I gave it some time. It wasn't like 5 minutes. I was like, oh God, I got to make a decision. It was crickets all day. It was crickets all day from Delivrd. Delivrd never reached back out to me. So I made the game time decision that I would have to sell my car. My daily driver. Now you could probably you can see where this is going, the prelude to where this is going, the foreshadowing, I should say, of what I'm going to talk about in the future here in this video. But to continue on, if you're still here, I appreciate it. I know this is a long one, 30 minutes. I'm going as fast as I can. So going forward, I said, hey, I'm going to put more money down because we did talk about it briefly on Friday about selling my car, possibly selling my car. I told him it was my daily driver, but here we are. I said I could put this much more down. What are the payments looking like? He's like, let me work it up for you. That's what it looks like. Wired him the money on Sunday, but due to the banks being closed, it wasn't wired until Monday. Long story short. Paperwork all done and said. Delivrd reached back out to me Monday. Said, hey, we'll see if that car is still available for you. I'm like, hey, the car's locked in. I wired the money. I'm done. Like, I am on top of it. I made the decision. So I said, I want to talk to somebody, Tommy or whoever, somebody in charge. I did say supervisor, I think, in the text. And the person that I talked to on Friday called back out to me, reached out and said, hey, what's going on? I plan on calling you on Monday. I said, dude, what's going on? I texted the Chad. I texted the emergency number and no response. And, the dealership saying, hey, the car's here. Are you serious or not? Like, I felt like I had to make a decision here, and I felt a little stressed. And he did apologize, and I want to say he was very, very nice and understanding. And it was nothing towards him. It was just, it left a sour taste in my mouth because I felt like I was like on my own, and that was the whole point of the service. And two, he didn't have any solutions. That was another thing. He's like, well, I didn't have any other solutions for you. I was like, well, at least tell me that. Like, at least tell me that on Saturday, or be like, hey, or Friday night, be like, hey, I've been doing my research. I don't have anything for you. If anything changes, I'll let you know Monday. But right now, I have no changes for you or anything. That would be better than left in the dark, in my opinion. And that's what I was frustrated with. And the second thing is I was frustrated with my trade. And I said this was my daily driver. Now I got to trade my car in, get the funds. And luckily, I had a little cushion, so I didn't have to sell my car right that second to get the funds, but I had to sell my car sooner than later because bills do come out, and the cushion that I had for bills are now for the car, and it's a stressful situation in my opinion. Like, it was a little stressful. So I had to sell the car earlier than expected before I got my car. And I told them that. I said, I've done all the heavy lifting for my car. They advertise that they do stuff for the trade, and I did the stuff. I filled everything out for Carvana. I went to CarMax and got my car appraised. And I did all these things, and Delivrd didn't do anything. They're like, well, ultimately, it's your car. You decide what you do with it. I'm like, I'm going to sell it. I need to. I understand that I couldn't ship it to the dealership because the car was coming from Texas, and it made no sense to ship it to Texas for a trade for the money. It didn't make sense money-wise, financially. And, if you reach out to other dealers, reached out to other local places around me, if it be dealers or other used car sales place. I didn't know what Delivrd does. I know they generally use third-party sales, but I didn't know how much heavy lifting they were doing, and I did all the heavy lifting, filled all the information out, and that was another sour thing. But moving forward now, so I wired the money, blah, blah, blah. They do have to send you paperwork to sign. They FedEx it overnight. Luckily for my dealership, in my experience, I did see online that it was a little frustrating, but they did send it overnight. I filled out that paperwork. They had a resealable envelope, and they had a return slip for me, so I didn't have to pay for anything extra. I didn't have to pay for an envelope. I just put it back in the same envelope, resealed it, put the new return label in front, and I dropped it off at Walgreens for the FedEx thing. Some people said that was an inconvenience and didn't want to do that. So just keep that in mind. You will have to drop that off ASAP. Shipping wise, it took a couple days for this. I'm trying to move as fast as possible. So boom, we got the car. We just need to get it shipped here. That's the next process. It's getting shipped from Texas to here, to Illinois. So like I said, they gave me a huge range earlier, the pre-consultation, the free consultation area. And then even with talking about here, they gave me a range from this number to this number, which was a lot smaller range. I just want to keep that in mind. It was a lot smaller range, but it's generally what they charge their customers for that. Maybe it could be a little bit more depending on the person, the shipper. who does all this. They work with somebody. He's been working with them for a couple of years, he said, and he's very nice. Answered all my questions also. Everybody's been very communicative and answered everything. The person that I did talk to on the phone, if I had any other questions, was very, very attentive right after that. After that conversation, he had me on speed dial. If I snapped a picture, he was calling me and explaining the document, to be very clear. Like, he knew that I was not happy. So he did do his due diligence. It still leaves a sour taste in my mouth, though, with everything. So this is simple. The shipper, he pretty much throws a fishing line out, and he waits, and he puts a little dollar amount out there, and then if nobody's biting, the truckers aren't biting, he puts a little bit more extra dollars out on the line. That's how the best way I could explain it. Eventually, he did get somebody to bite. He got it for $1,000. That was how much my shipping was. I'm going to be transparent with that. It was a low end of $850, but due to two things, as the war in Iraq and all the gas prices right now have everything skyrocketed, and also due to the time of month and change, the snowbirds, as he called them, are coming from the south, moving back north because it's getting warm outside, and they're all traveling down this route. And he did express that most truck drivers were asking for more, but he did get somebody to agree for this amount. So I do appreciate the effort they do there. Like I said, that's from Texas to Illinois. I'm not going to give you the exact GPS, but give you that. It goes directly to my house. It did take a long time. Like I said, the car got there Sunday. My car didn't get shipped until Thursday. And just to give you an idea, I sold my car on Thursday. So I was about 5 days without a car. So 4 days, 4 or 5 days. Yeah. So very smooth process. There's a bill of landing. You fill out everything. You have to inspect the car. The driver was very patient. They're very accommodating. It drives right to your house. The car gets shipped right to you. Everything's right there for you. The paperwork, all that stuff, if you have any, is going to be in the car. You have to look over the car. Make sure you look over every little detail at the car. My car got shipped late, and I'm talking it was dark outside. I was with a flashlight looking at my car. It just depends. My work schedule is a little wonky. That's just how it worked out. He could have been there earlier, but I was at work. So nothing towards the driver. That, just how it worked out. Would I wish it was in the morning time? Of course, but, I'm not going to be picking. The trade. So the trade of my vehicle, like I said, I did most of the heavy lifting. I ended up going with Carvana. I'm not going to tell you how much I got, but I was frustrated, and this is where I was also frustrated, is because I had to end up selling my car early to help offset the payments, and it also helped with the shipping, but the shipping was not a big deal. I was more so for the payments of the car. I was frustrated with this because, like I said, it was my daily driver. I expressed this multiple times, and it seems like it was like, oh, well, that's all you can do. It's like, you need to sell your car. And luckily, like I said, I had the cushion a little bit beforehand to supplement that income, and then with the car getting sold, having that income come back and not have any problems or miss any bills or anything. Carvana is a very smooth process. Fill it all out online. You could either get it picked up. It does charge you for getting it picked up, so keep that in mind. If you do drop it off, I know Carvanas are few and far between, so you might be driving it quite a while. I was luckily very close to a Carvana, so there was no problems with that. Smooth sailing. The process and payment was super smooth. Not a lot of work selling my car. It was like literally 15 minutes. I did everything online, and then I went there smooth. The main things I was irked about. I had to find transportation to get to and from work, and daily transportation because it was my daily driver, and I didn't have a car at that time. And two, like I said, it was a little sour taste in my mouth about those two things. I did most of the lifting and everything for the trade, even though they say they do the trade and say they do third party, you end up doing most of it. And I understand you're going to have to fill out paperwork and stuff, but like I did that all on my own. Like, they didn't really do anything with my trade. which was disappointing. And like I said, with the whole feeling a little bit pressured, a little anxiety at that moment, like you have to make a decision, like are you going to take the car or not, kind of vibe feeling. It left a sour taste in my mouth. Overall experience, everybody was super nice. Everybody was so friendly, answered all my questions. Like I said, they did answer questions after the group text. It was just Sunday. I know people have lives, and Tommy is very big on having his team have a healthy work schedule. He was very transparent about that. I'm just a little disappointed because I did reach out to the urgency line, and I just, I didn't get a response back then either, even though I reached out to the urgent line. So it was a little frustrating. Overall experience, I would give the Delivrd for everything they did a 3.8/4, 3.8 to 4 stars out of 5. Would you use them again? Personally, if the car that I needed was very difficult to get, and like I said, I couldn't get my hands on it, and I'm okay with shipping it and having other things, other means, and had the funds, of course, it was smooth sailing. The negotiation skills are top of the line. They know what they're talking about. They have the research. They have the knowledge, and that was the main two things. And I didn't feel any really anxiety or pressure, besides that one little hiccup. And Tommy or Delivrd, if you're watching this, if you want to reach out and talk about things, this is, we can go in more depth or anything. I did leave your review. I did leave the stars on your thing. Overall, a great experience though. This is not to bash them. This is not to, be like, don't use this or don't use that. Once again, I'm not paid by anybody. Delivrd didn't pay me to do this. This is all on my own. I'm using my own time, my own efforts to make this video. For you as a person, to give you my full experience as an average person using his experience. And is the price worth it? And I said, yeah, the price is worth it, even though with those hiccups. Overall, I do appreciate what Tommy's doing, what they do for the team, and Tommy's team does, and they do go above and beyond, and their customer service is bar none. And those two things, a little rough, but I have my car now. I'm extremely happy with my car. It's everything I asked for, and couldn't ask for anything else. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Delivrd, if you're watching this. And thank you all for watching this. I will talk to you guys next time.